Are you a consulting business owner seeking a better way to scale to your next million in revenue? Accelerate Sales Podcast features other experts who have cracked the code to predictable revenues with proven sales systems that quickly increase revenue and get you on the fast track back to doing what you do best. Now let's accelerate your sales with today's episode.
Hi, Paul here. Before we get into the show, would you like to make a great first impression on LinkedIn? If so, I have something just for you. When people search for your name on Google, your LinkedIn profile will normally come up first. Before meeting someone for the first time, how often do they view your LinkedIn profile? For many coaches and consultants I begin to work with, their profiles don't do them any justice. I've created a simple solution where you can whip your profile into shape to have your best foot forward when attracting new clients on LinkedIn. Go to blgdownload.com, so that's blgdownload.com to get your 5 killer tips today. Hello to the Accelerate Sales Solo Podcast, episode number 340. If it's your first time, welcome. And if you love what you hear, please subscribe. And if you're a regular, thanks for your support. I often get people reach out to me on LinkedIn and through email, and it really does mean the world to me because, to be honest, it can be pretty quiet on this side of the fence because you don't always get feedback, even though you know as a podcast listener, and I must admit I'm getting better at giving feedback to the podcasts I listen to because I do get great value out of it, but I don't often thank them. But thank you for those that have reached out, and also I love those iTunes reviews. They're brilliant. And please check out past shows on your favorite app. Just search Accelerate Sales, and don't forget those wonderful interview shows as well. So today's topic is stories matter in sales, and you'll learn my story. You'll also learn where to use your story, right? Because I want to give you an example of mine to work out yours. So today's topic was inspired by my mum. On the 5th of October, 2021, she would have been turning 75. So I think it's just a couple of days after this is going to be released. And it will be my second birthday alone because we did share the same birth date, the 5th of October. And, I've shared that with her for 51 years. And apparently the story goes that she was a school teacher, and when the bell rang, she wasn't in the classroom, she was in hospital, but she could hear the bell ring at 3:30, and I popped on her birthday. Now, it wasn't always a wonderful gift. I know there's times, probably many times, that she didn't think it was the best birthday gift she ever got, but I was very close to Mum, which I'll tell you a bit more in the story. So I'll give you a brief summary of mine so you can be inspired to do yours, and then I'll show you some examples of how to use it. So it all kicked off when I was 18. I vividly remember Mum had a massive heart attack. We weren't quite sure what it was, but her father had died at 41, and about 50% of the family of Mum's side of the family had died of heart attack at a young age. And anyway, long story short, they worked out that it was a condition called polycystic kidney disease. So I went in to get tested to see if I had it, and I'll still remember the look on Mum's face. I walked out of the doctor's, and she was there by a car, and she just looked at me, I looked at her, and we just both burst into tears. And I really do think that she never really forgave herself for passing it on, and I'll feel the same for my children. They haven't been tested as yet. But, I thought, well, look, I want to do my mum proud in that moment. She can't change what has happened, right? It's got nothing to do with her. It's just genetics. But I want to do everything high performing so that she can at least, be proud of me in other ways and not think about what she's passed on. So I decided to become high performing, and then I went and worked for the Coca-Cola company for 18 years, and it was a wonderful journey. I was a sales rep to begin with, and then ended up as a director. And the sales training and experience I had was, second to none. 18 years, I was just so fortunate to have that experience. And it was wonderful. It was high performing, and it was a great industry. But the industry started to change, especially in Australia where I was, sugar. So, you used to take Coke into someone's party, and it was fantastic. You were basically kicked out of a party in 2011 if you took it in with here within Australia. And I could sort of see that it was struggling. And then on the other side of it is that my nephrologist was saying, look, Paul, if you continue to travel around the world, work the hours you are, etc., you're going to have have to have a transplant, if you can get one, that is, earlier than you really want. So you want to stay on your natural kidneys as much as you can. So I left in 2011, and I basically, worked for some other people to find my feet. It was pretty tough. But then I set up a consulting business, and out of that spun out 2 other businesses, an outsourcing and tech business. And I did those and loved those, traveled around the world, and it was wonderful. But then in 2018, my nephrologist, went and saw her again, and she said, look, if you really want to see your grandkids, I think we need to change it up a bit. So I basically wound down one of my companies, kept the other 2, and then sort of did everything that I could to survive on one. Well, it was basically 2 kidneys that they were both about the size of a mini soccer ball, and neither of them were very good. And what I learnt then is to do sales from anywhere. So sales, I did advising. So business strategy, but it was often around sales. And I did that from a dialysis machine, 4 times a week, 3.5 hours. I used to sometimes, beg to stay on a bit longer so I could finish the work that I was doing. But if I look back now, that was it was a really difficult time in my life. I had brain fog. I couldn't remember a lot of things. Which has built a lot of the systems now. And I actually really built the systems to be able to sell from anywhere now. And in hindsight, that sort of has, a key part of what I do now. But I had a transplant from my best friend in 2019. And, I'd known him for 30 years. Then my mum had, considered him sort of part of the family. So it was wonderful that she got to see that experience before she passed. And I really do think that she prolonged her journey on dialysis, because we thought, for at least 3 years she was going to leave. But I think, she finally got to see a silver lining to that little, that guy at 18 that sort of looked her in the face and, had to tell her that, yes, he had got the condition from her. So in the back end of 2019, we exited a business, which was fantastic, a tech consulting business. And, that was a tremendous journey I had with a business partner, and we were very fortunate to exit that, certainly before dialysis before COVID. Sorry, I always think medical. And then now formed the Accelerate Sales program, which helps predominantly consultants, but also tech companies and tech resellers to, really focus on what they're great at and then get support with sales, because a lot of them don't know what they don't know, and you may be one of those, and that's the reason why you listen. I've been, blessed with a 28-year career in sales, and then I can help you do that. And, I do my podcasts, which are now over 100,000 episodes, and, I really want to help by doing this is to get more referrals so people can double their income or double their referrals to generate income so they can live a life of freedom. So that's sort of the key components of my story. Now, you can go and find it, and I'll tell you where you can find it, but it's sort of a quick summary, right? And you can see, certainly when I went into the story about mum and dialysis, kidney transplant, it's really something that is, very, very specific to me. And I know you've got something there that is specific to you. Overall, there's people that are a lot worse than me. There's people that are a lot better with me from a health perspective, but it's unique to me, right? It's not something that someone else has gone through. So you can find that. But before I continue to say where you can use this story, I'd like to talk to you about Book Like a Boss, or in short, I call it BLAB. BLAB. Most of you use a scheduler probably now by, Calendly, Acuity, there's so many other great ones out there. But I must admit, I found Blab and just loved the user experience. I think the ability to have it looks like an actual full web page which you can customize. You can add your videos in there. It just looks wonderful. And I've been fortunate enough now to have them sponsor the podcast. But most importantly, I'd love for you to go and check it out, because I do think it's a wonderful platform. But why don't you have a look in case you're looking for certain UX features, but also other features that only Blab have from my personal experience. Just go to paulhigginsmentoring.com/blab. So that's BLAB. Obviously, the links will be in the show notes. So now, where can you use this story? So one is you can, firstly, your story should be about 3 minutes, right? I know I've gone a little bit longer in this podcast, but you can go on my where I'm stating I've got it, you can go there and see it. But first on your LinkedIn profile, right? Have it on the featured section, the first one of the featured section. Next is email outreach. So at the moment, we want to connect with someone on LinkedIn. We're actually sending them a connection request, but all the other messages go on email. And the first one is my story. So people get to know you to see if they really want to meet you. On your booking links, like I said, Book Like a Boss has a great way that you can incorporate that story into your booking system, because people, want to get to know you. And if they can do that in 3 minutes, it's brilliant. Your about section, your website, your YouTube, and also referrals, right? You can use it as a great way of helping people to introduce people to you. So 3 key actions from today. One is watch my story to get a guide. And like I said, probably LinkedIn is the easiest place to go. Create your own story, and why not send it to me, and I can give you some feedback on it. So you can get all the links, as I said, mentioned in the show at paulhigginsmentoring.com/podcast. Just go to episode 340 or on the app that you're using. I love the Pocket Cast app. Please follow me on LinkedIn and check that story out. If you know someone interested in leveraging their story to get more sales, please share this with them. They'll love you and they will think that you're their resident sales hero. Please take action to accelerate your sales.
I'm fired up after today's episode. What about you? But hey, before you go, learning is just one piece of the puzzle. Now it's time to put today's strategy into action. Head over now to today's show page at paulhigginsmentoring.com/podcast and share how you'll put it into action. Be sure to head over to your favorite podcast platform and subscribe, rate, and review the show. Tell me what your favorite episode is. And don't wait 1 minute more to gain access to your pulse check at paulhigginsmentoring.com. This could be the difference between struggling to get more leads and making this next quarter your best one yet.